All right, so to make it to the earthquake project that we're doing, we'll go to our modules, we'll go all the way down, and it'll say earthquake PowerPoint slash Google Slides. We'll click on that, and obviously I'll leave student view again since it's not open yet. And you'll see this. Now it's a lot of text, and it's all important, but it's pretty easy to break down, all right? So I'll read this for you. For this assignment, you'll be choosing a famous earthquake. All right, here. So right after that, I'm including this link, 20 largest earthquakes in the world. It'd be pretty easy to pick one of these. If you want to do something else, that's okay. But also picking one of these will ensure that you get some good pictures, some good info, all of that fun stuff. And it's your first source. You can just, if I want to do the biggest earthquake in the world, I just click on it and it tells me a bunch of information on it. I'll walk you through that a little bit later. All right. And you'll be making a PowerPoint or Google Slides about it. Below are the requirements. All right, now you see why there's so much text, all right? So the first slide will be a title slide of the location of the earthquake. So it's like the insert location here, earthquake. So if we were to do the big one, it would be the Great Chilean Earthquake right here, okay? And your name is a subtitle. So below that, I would put like, by Mr. Nichols. The last slide, as always, is gonna be credits. Okay, it doesn't have to be formal, just bullet list. Right here says that bullet list. The links. You can have as few as one and as many as you want. Right? So in between, you can have as many slides as you want, but they have to have this information. And I'm going to give you an example in a minute. All right, but you're going to need to include location, date, magnitude, and the scale it was measured on, because there's more than just the Richter scale. So make sure you get it in the right one. Right? The depth the earthquake occurred at, because they don't occur at the surface, they occur underground, right? The number dead or wounded, and that number may vary, so just go with one and cite your source. The value of the property damage, and if that's not available, you can't find it, let me know, I'll help you. And then the after effects. All right, so if the earth starts shaking, some things are going to happen, right? Electrical lines might go down, causing a power outage, or maybe that line hits some brush and now there's a forest fire. All right, if earthquakes happen near the ocean, there's going to be tsunamis. We've talked about why that would happen. The plates come together, they're grinding on each other, one's kind of going under, and then it snaps, and all that water gets shot up somewhere else. All right, well, if there's tsunamis, there might be flooding. Tell me about that. Were there landslides? When the earth started shaking, did mountains start crumbling? That can happen. Did buildings start crumbling? That can happen too. Anything else notable? Throw that in there too. I want to know about it. All right. And then obviously looking at a PowerPoint that's just text is no fun. So include some images, guys. Add a background, throw some stuff on there. If you're telling me, hey, there was a landslide that covered an entire village, show me that. Somebody took a picture of that, surely. That's pretty significant. All right. And then I do want an image of a map. All right. So give me at least one image of a map showing me where it happened and at least one image of what it looked like afterwards. All right. 2 images, these 7 things, a title slide, and a credit slide. So 7, title slide, credit slide, that's 2, so that's 9 total, and then the images, so that's 10 total. All right, each thing is going to be worth 2 points for a total of 20 points. All right, so if you ever need to figure out what is going on with this, you can either rewatch this or just reread all of this and double check, do I have this list done? If yes, you'll get the whole thing. Now, here is a small example of that. Let me pull that up. All right, so I did one. I just threw in a simple background and I'm going to throw in the information. I have the whole thing done in 4 slides. All right, so I did the Great Alaskan Earthquake by Mr. Nichols. So I already have my title slide done. I have the name and I have my name. What, when, and where? I'm just getting straight to the point here. I'm not going to waste some time. You can do whatever you want, make it as artistic as you want, but I'm just going to give you guys the facts. All right, so what was it? It was a 9.2 magnitude earthquake that registered in every US state except Connecticut, Delaware, and Rhode Island. Now, did I need to add that part about registering everywhere? Absolutely not. I could have just told you that it was a 9.2 magnitude earthquake. But the fact that it's so big and then it registered everywhere it gives you a better idea of what happened. All right, so add some flair in there. All right, and when did it happen? It happened March 27th, 1964. It's also sometimes called the Good Friday earthquake because it happened the Friday before Easter. So it has a different name. I decided not to put that in there, but you can if you want to. All right. By the way, don't do this same earthquake because I did it, and you could just copy this. So this one is off limits now. All right. And it lasted 5 minutes. So I put in that it lasted from 5:36 to 5:41 p.m. because I had the start time. I read that it lasted 5 minutes. I can add 5 minutes and put the end time. Fair enough. And where did it happen? Well, I could just say that it happened at Prince William Sound, Alaska, and put the depth somewhere else, but I'll just knock out 2 birds in one stone. Where did it happen? 25 kilometers below Prince William Sound, Alaska. And I included the map on here, so that's my first image. All right, and it's right where that star is. So if I zoom in here, oh, I can't zoom in here, it's PowerPoint, sorry. If I make this bigger for you, maybe. There it goes. You can see that this is right on this little strip of land surrounded by water. So before I even get to the next slide, you're probably able to guess that there was a tsunami, which is probably what I'm going to spend some time talking about next, and you'd be right. So here's the aftermath. The death toll, some reports, right, because we talked about, they're going to vary, say that 15 people were lost in the initial tremors and 131 people died total. All right, so the actual earthquake wasn't too bad. It was everything that happened afterwards. It caused almost 900 million in today's dollars worth of property damage, mostly to the coast hit by the tsunami. So this coast would be Alaska, but Alaska's not too densely populated, so there's not a whole lot of buildings there. But guess what is? California, which got hit, it's got a ton of coastline, and that tsunami just wrecked a bunch of it. All right. So even though this earthquake happened in Alaska, actually most of the deaths were not in Alaska because all 128 of these people killed by the tsunami afterwards were mostly in Washington, Oregon, and California. And it was a huge tsunami too. The highest point that they measured it at, which was in Alaska, thankfully near a not so populated area, was 220 feet high, or 67 meters. That's like most of a football field high. There's not much more to say other than that. It was massive. All right, and it reached land after just a few minutes. And that makes sense, right? This earthquake happened right on a coast. All of that water is rising up and then moving. It's not like it's going across an ocean to get somewhere. It was just right here. Didn't take long at all for that earthquake to end and for that wave to come in. And I do have an image of the aftermath right up here. You know, the tsunami is knocking some stuff right into the land. So we've got these boats right next to these homes and warehouses and stuff. It's just not a good time. And then finally, the last thing that happened was the landslides. I guess it wasn't the last thing. It was probably the first thing that happened other than the shaking. Debris started falling off of mountains and all of these glaciers and everything, and it started burying things. Chief among them, this image, which I'll make big. Hey, it happened right away this time. This was a school. This school was flat. This hill was not here. So that picture kind of, tells a short story. I have 2 pictures on this slide. I had a picture on the last slide, so that's 3 instead of just 2. So I have that covered. I have the magnitude. I have the date. I have the place. I have the depth. I have the damages. I have the death toll. I have what else happened. I have the title slide. And I have the final slide. So this would get full credit. And it's 4 slides long. It doesn't have to take that long to put together. All right. And I'll post this up so you guys can see these sources. If you go to them, these kinds of websites like NOAA and where was I? And the USGS, United States Geological Services, they're going to have tons of information for you. So definitely use those sources. All right. Sounds good.